Now, it's thought that around 8% of youngsters will suffer from a stammer at some point. That represents about 150,000 children in Britain. One parent has now turned her own child's story into a book, and I'm very pleased to say that Helen Rutter and her son Lenny join us on the programme. Guys, fantastic to have you on, and if we needed reminder of the book's title, there it is, of course, bit of promotion over Lenny's shoulder, The Boy Who Made Everyone Laugh. I mean, Helen, usually when we do interviews such as this, I have to dig deep to find out what the inspiration is for a particular book. Not so this morning, because he's sitting next to you. Tell us about how all this came about.
Yeah, so it came about because of this boy. He has completely inspired me. I never ever thought that I would write a book in my life. It wasn't a dream of mine particularly, although I always wrote, but I never thought about writing a book until I went through the stammer with him, and I had the idea for the book, and I knew that it was something that I really, really wanted to write, mainly for him, because I wanted to write a story that kind of starred a character just like him.
Lenny, I don't know if you've consulted the lawyers as yet, but it may well be the case that your mother owes you a little bit of money, depending on how well the book goes. Tell us just a little bit, though. I mean, how does it feel to have your own story immortalised to an extent in this way?
I mean, it's just great for people to get the message and to learn how a stammerer would want you to react if you do meet one.
Well, let's start with that then, Lenny, shall we? I mean, if you and I were to meet when your stammer was perhaps at its worst, how does one like me? How do we interact? What should I do? What shouldn't I do?
Well, in Mum's book, there are she kind of puts them into 4 categories, right? So there's the waiters, the jokers, the mind readers, and the encouragers. Don't make fun of them. That's the jokers. Don't think you know what they're saying and interrupt them. You should just kind of wait for them to finish because they want to tell you something. So you should wait for them to finish.
I know from my own son, Lenny, that kids generally have quite a lot to say. So to find yourself in a position where literally sometimes you can't get your own words out. I mean, how frustrating was that for you when you were? I mean, I speak to an awful lot of people on a daily basis, and I detect no stammer in the way that you're speaking to me right now.
Yeah, it kind of comes and goes. At some point, so it's a bit like a wave. Sometimes it's really strong, and then sometimes it's less strong. But it's always kind of there. But right now, it's quite, it's not really that pronounced, that strong.
Yeah, I think you found ways to deal with it, haven't you? Because we went to speech therapy for quite a long time, and so they gave him lots of techniques and things, and I think, and now it just feels like really a natural way of speaking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's good. We just lost the link there briefly, so apologies to our viewers who just were staring at both of you open mouth there, both in full flow. I mean, Helen, have we got better as a nation, as a people at dealing, the way we handle stammering? Ed Balls, famous frontline Labour politician, himself had a stammer. Joe Biden, of course, now in the office of the president in the United States, has had a stammer. Are we just more aware of it now, perhaps?
I hope so. I think that Joe Biden getting in is going to be really great. I think it's really important to hear different types of stammer because they all sound very different. And so a lot of the time, people don't understand what it is that they're hearing. And I think that because you imagine that the only people that would mimic or that would joke about it or be mean about it would be kids, but actually adults do it too, and mainly it's not because they're being cruel, it's because they don't understand what it is that they're listening to, and they're just trying to pop the tension or the awkwardness because they don't get that it's a stammer. So I think it's really important to hear different types of stammer to understand that that's what it is, and that it is just about waiting. It's about patience, and I think that there's a really good lesson for everyone to learn, that you just need to wait.
Lenny, of course, the boy in the book, you know, the boy who made everyone look, wanting to become a comedian. Is that where you're heading? Is that what you're desiring?
Well, no, I don't really want to. But my dad is a comedian, and Mum has kind of gone in and out with comedy. So I think that's where it came from. But I do relate to Billy in the fact that we're both drummers, so I think that's where that came from.
I've stolen bits of my whole life for this book, so I've stolen everything. So Billy wants to be a drummer as well, and I've used my husband and my comedy, and Lenny's stammer, and my daughter gets a little mention. We're all in it.
Yeah, what's the use of having kids if you can't use them for financial gain? That's what I always say. Lenny, a last word to you, Lenny. How does it feel to kind of have, you know, aspects of your life, if not your life, but aspects of your life put into a book, and by none other than your mother, of course?
I've never really read a book which kind of relates to me so much. Like, I've read, I think it was one book where the person had a stammer, but it was literally just mentioned twice, and that was it. But it's good to have a book that I can really relate to, I think.
Yeah, that's do you know what? And the loveliest thing, of course, is that it was Mum that provided it. Lenny, Helen, it's been a real pleasure to chat to both of you this morning, and wish you all the best with the book. Thanks both for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Nice way to end the hour. Here's the weather. Now says the details.